So today we're going to cover the ellipse, but we're shifting the center off of the origin to h comma k. So this really is not much different. It's x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1. So a is underneath the x, so the major axis is horizontal, which means like this. And in the second one, the major axis is vertical. The foci lie on the major axis, c units from the center. So c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So let's look at example 3. This is a continuation from yesterday. If we want to rewrite that equation in standard form, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to group together your x squareds in x, your y squared in y, and move the constant to the other side. The goal here is we are trying to complete the square. In order to complete the square, let me remind you from Algebra 2 that the coefficient in front of x squared or y squared must be 1. So I can't complete the square with 4y squared. I have to factor out the 4. Now the x squared was okay. So I'm going to take half of 6, which is 3, and square it. You need to remember to add it to both sides of the equation. Now I'll take half of 2, which is 1, and square it. But I did not actually add 1 to the left side. What did I add? 4. So I'm ready to factor this. X plus 3 squared plus 4 times y minus 1 squared equals 4. What's the last thing I need to accomplish when I want an ellipse in standard form?
Divide the whole thing by 4.
Yeah, we're going to divide by 4 because we need that right-hand side to equal a 1. So this is going to be x plus 3 squared over 4 plus y minus 1 squared over 1 equals 1. I can identify, it does say sketch it, so when we sketch it, we're going to do the center, the vertices, co-vertices, foci. So the center is at negative 3, 1. What's A? 2. What's B? 1. We can find c squared by doing c squared equals a squared minus b squared. 4 minus 1 is 3, so c is plus or minus the square root of 3. So we're going to need that information as we work on our sketch. All right, so let's plot the center. It's at negative 3, 1. And then because A is underneath the X, that means I have a horizontal major axis. That means left, right. So from the center, I'm going to move 2 to the right, and that's a vertex. From the center, I move 2 to the left. That's a vertex. So let's label those coordinates. That's negative 1, 1, negative 5, 1. Let me repeat that. Once you have the center, since A is underneath X, that's a horizontal major axis, so you're going to move A units to the right from the center, A units to the left from the center. Okay? So that was negative 1, 1, negative 5, 1. Co-vertices, you go B units up. So there's a co-vertex, co-vertex. Boy, that is, my scale's pretty bad, huh? So then let's identify the co-vertex is negative 3, 0, negative 3, 2. we can find the foci. The foci are along the major axis, C units from the center. So radical 3, you don't need a calculator. Radical 3 is really close to 2, isn't it? But not quite 2. So it's really close to the vertex. So how do you identify that? Well, the center is -3, and then you're adding and subtracting radical 3. So it doesn't look pretty, but it's -3 plus or minus radical 3, comma 1. If it makes you feel better to write them separately, you may. You could say -3 plus radical 3, comma 1, -3 minus radical 3, comma 1. All right, let's double check our work. We have the equation, we have the center, the vertices, the co-vertices, and the foci. And we made our sketch. Any questions? All right, example 4, write this in standard form. So let's go ahead and group x squareds and x, y squared and y. Then before I can take half of the b value, I need to factor out the coefficient. All right, is everybody with me? So I'm going to take half of 4, which is 2, and square it. But I'm adding 36. I take half of 6, which is 3, and square it, which is 9. That's 45. So this is 9 times x plus 2 squared plus 5 times y minus 3 squared equals 45. To finish this up, I need it equal to 1. So you divide by the number that's on the right side. In this case, it's 45. So there's your equation. So what is the center? Good, -2, 3. What's A? 3. And what's B? Radical 5, right? It's radical 5. And then we can find c squared is a squared minus b squared. So c squared is 4, so c is going to be plus or minus 2. Because A is underneath the Y, this is going to have a vertical major axis. All right, so here we go. -2, 3, there's my center. The vertices, because the major axis is vertical, you're going to go up and down a units. And so in this case, we're going to go up 3 units and down 3 units. So I have vertices at -2, 6 and -2, 0. Then we're going to move right and left b units. Again, you don't need a calculator. Radical 5 is just a teeny tiny bit more than 2. So here's a co-vertex and a co-vertex. So that is the center was at -2, and you're doing plus or minus radical 5, comma 3. Then the last thing we need to do is to find the foci, and the foci will be C units from the center. So you're going up 2 and down 2. So the foci were -2, comma 5, -2, comma 1. All right, let's double check our work. We've got the equation, we've got the center, the vertices, the co-vertices, the foci, and we've sketched it, okay? All right, example 5. This one's an awesome problem. I really like this one, and there are some on the homework like this. It says, find the standard form of the equation of the ellipse having foci at 0, 1, and 4, 1, and a major axis of length 6. So I want to give you a moment, and I want you to think about this and play the detective game. What do I know? Okay, anybody have any ideas? Anybody? What do you know? Yeah, Stephanie?
Center major axis length is 6. You know that it's going to be like 3 from your center.
Yes.
And so then I use the foci and the 9 to plug that into my c squared equals a squared minus b squared to figure out that your b is your square root of 5. And then I'm working on plugging that back into the other equation to find the, like, how far the center is. You know, like where it is.
Okay, well actually we know where the center is, don't we? Abby, what do you think? Yeah, the center is halfway.
That's it. I didn't grab it, so I was doing it more.
Okay, analytically that way. Okay, but here's the deal. This is one of those things where you have to go, oh yeah, we sort of know this. If you know where the two foci are, you know the center is in the middle. Now, you made a wonderful connection, Stephanie, with if the major axis has a length of 6, that means the vertices are 3 units from the center. So now I know I have a vertex here that's at 5, comma 1, and I know the other vertex is at -1, comma 1. And then so that means A is 3, but we do know C because we know the distance from the center to a foci is 2 units. So then she's absolutely right. C squared equals A squared minus B squared. So 2 squared equals 9 minus, well, why did I put that? I know what that is. Okay, sorry. Like, oh, okay, yeah. I know 2 squared. So that's a 4. So I would get B squared equals 5, and B is plus or minus radical 5. The other thing I know is the foci is on the major axis. This means that the major axis is horizontal. So that means it's x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k, the quantity squared, over b squared equals 1. Well, I know h, k, a, and b. I'm done. I just need to plug it in. So I get x minus 2 squared over 9 plus y minus 1 squared over 5 equals 1. So that's a really cool problem, a different way to look at it. All right, try example 6 on your own. You don't have to graph, but when I do these, I do have to graph. So go ahead and try it. All right, you can just read off the center is 2, -1. You can also identify A as 5, B as 3. You can solve for C that it's plus or minus 4. Since A is the bigger number underneath that variable, this is a horizontal major axis. So I counted 5 units to the right, 5 to the left. I'm very visual, so I plotted, just not the whole thing, but just enough. And then the minor axis is up and down 3 units to get your co-vertices. And then the foci are 4 units on the major axis. In this case, it's right and left. All right, any questions at all on this?